And welcome to 2015. It's hard to believe that a decade and a half ago no one had even heard of this sport. Now look at where we are. In another decade and a half of 2030, none of us are going to still be alive to play the sport. But nevertheless, we're here in 2015 right now, the start of a new year, the start of a new circuit season, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. We might do a little bit of a recap of what we missed last year at the end of the year with our podcasts. We will be talking about plenty of new things coming up, going on this year. And let's just take a look around the table and see who we've got with us. Of course, my favorite better half on the podcast, we've got Adam Adrock Morawski, Maruski, Morbruski. How do you pronounce your name? Nobody cares.
Morbruski.
Morbruski. There you go. That's how we pronounce your name now. Morbruski. Also on the podcast, we've got Matt Admin Kemp, who's sort of running the show on a technical sense, just making sure that you can see all of our faces and hear all of our lovely voices. And also joining us on the podcast, not for the first time, but probably very consistently now, the new CEO of 365, Mr. Stephen Ozier.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you guys for having me.
Wow. All right. Let's, I got us started. Where are we going next, Adam?
Well, I figure we should ask this guy a couple questions. I mean, he's new around here, so we should.
Sure, let's get immediately into new business, and yeah, let's ask our new 365 CEO some questions. Start us off.
All right, how did the idea of Steven becoming the CEO come about?
Good question. It was something that at Circuit Cup Championship this past year in San Antonio, Admin was saying, you know, he's really looking forward to kind of spreading his wings and working behind the scenes and getting some stuff done, you know, and did he think that I would know anyone interested in possibly coming on to help run things, or if I had anybody in mind? I, of course, jumped at the opportunity. I said, absolutely. I'm in if you're serious. I also understand how, you know, frustrating tournament days can be and how much he was dealing with. So, you know, a little bit of venting, totally understandable. But I was like, hey, if you're serious, I'd love to come on full time and help you guys out. And that's kind of how it started, and now we're here.
Great.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Now, I mean, I'm actually quite pleased to have Stephen as the new CEO of 365 for the year. I've been to many events that he's run and played in his league many times. And he's quite good at it. Now, that's not me just being a sycophant. I mean, in real life, Stephen has a slew of character flaws and personality defects. But when it comes to running a kickball event, whether it's a tournament or a league, he's extraordinarily competent. So I think it's a good natural progression having Stephen taking over as the CEO. Although it's a lot of work. I mean, you still are going to have your league. I imagine you might be doing some event managing for some of the local events, and you might, in fact, have a life outside of kickball, possibly with a wife, kid, and job. I mean, we know you, but the rest of kickball doesn't. Stephen, tell us, give us a little bit of your CV. Tell us about your life outside of the silly orange ball game.
Outside of kickball, you guys, well, like I said, Patty, you know me. My wife, the beast of the West Coast when it comes to women, Cora Ozier. A lot of people know her as the catcher for every women's event that she's ever gone to. And we also have an 8-year-old son. And, of course, I do have a full-time job. But, you know, let's be honest about the situation. This has all been something that we've volunteered our time to for a long time. I've been running tournaments since 2010, been running leagues since that time as well. So having this, you know, and having everything else on my plate isn't something that's brand new. You know, my history, as from most of you know, I've played sports just about my entire life. So being able to juggle several things at once and being able to multitask is something that you come accustomed to as a student athlete and as an athlete in general. And, you know, just kind of stick with the program, be sure that I put first things first, and try and keep everybody that I can happy, fingers crossed. Although apparently that's not the case running out the gate so far with the West Coasters, but we'll see what we can do about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to look at you on the podcast. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are happy. Patty's miserable. He's never happy. But but you know, you've ran a bunch of leagues before, you know, on various platforms, but what excites you most about coming on board with 365?
What excites me most is, even though we've been doing these, or Kickball 365 has been doing the circuit for a couple of years now, from a business and professional standpoint, it's still very much in a young stage. Hold on. Can you guys still see me, hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you. Somebody trying to call you? Don't they know that?
Yeah.
You're on live TV right now, Stephen. Throw your phone out. Oh, you've got your phone wired into your computer, so you take phone calls on your computer.
Sorry. That was.
And we lost him. We lost him. 5 minutes.
It's our show again.
Gone. Are you happy, Kickball? You bitched and you moaned about the new schedule and all the events everywhere, and that's it. He left. He's gone. We have no CEO. Now it's just going to be a free-for-all. That you heard it here first. Kickball 365 this year is going to be a goddamn free-for-all. No events scheduled. Just try and get a bunch of people to show up to one city at the same time. If there's enough to field a team, we'll play a game. If not, then we go drink, which will make more Brewski happy. But the rest of us who enjoy kickball, we're screwed. Thanks. Yeah.
Patty.
Sir.
What's it like to be less of a man with your shorter hair?
My girlfriend says it makes me look younger. Do I look younger? You know, to be
look a little
honest,
younger.
I went to the place that I usually go to get my hair cut, and I went in with the usual, what's it, and that is, I've got my hair, it's a little bit too long, let's trim it up a little bit, and they broke out the clippers and went to work. It was the fastest haircut I have ever had. It was just bzz, 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 and now this is my head. So I am feeling a little bit weaker, a little bit sketchier right now, but the good news about hair is I hear it grows back.
It does. I'm going to try to get Steven back on. I don't know what happened, but he just got removed, so hopefully he'll come in. Guys, the company's made a few announcements. If you want to touch on that, or while we wait on Steven, we can go from there.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. The company made the announcement about the Kickball 365 membership program. I went ahead and signed up because I'm a sucker like that. I have no idea what it entails. What does that mean? I threw some money at you, Matt. What do I get for it?
You didn't throw money at me. You threw money at the company. So first and foremost, and Steven can touch on this when he gets back, essentially it's a program that benefits not only the company but also gives back to you. So we're a startup. All the members of this company are working part-time. Steven was just touching on it a second, and actually he just joined us again.
Oh, good.
Everyone in the company is working part-time. That's been this way since we were founded in 2010. And we depend on the support and the participation of everyone who supports this community. And so we talked about this. I actually was going through my notes from 2010 of things that the company should try when we were getting off the ground. And a membership program was discussed. Ultimately, it was not launched, but we decided finally that in 2015 we should launch an annual membership program that would provide a way to give back to the company to ensure that we have the funds to actually operate. We'll be completely honest with where we are with the company. We want to be here for the future. We do not run leagues galore yet, but we're going that way. The membership program does a bunch of benefits. One, it gets you an awesome shirt, so you'll get a new This Is Kickball t-shirt for 2015. It'll be for the year. There's 3 different designs. You get to pick one and what color you want when you go through the checkout. 2, you get a towel. It's a hand towel. It's got the Circuit logo with members only. You get stickers, and you also get a various variety of other specials that we'll be providing throughout the year. 2 right now are 5% off anytime you go to kickballstuff.com off of any product, and then also 5% off Savage Ultimate. Good to go. So, and you get $5 off at every circuit event you attend. So take advantage of it.
If you attend 10 circuit events, it pays for itself.
Yes, it does.
Excellent. Now, of those 10 circuit events, does that include the Circuit Cup in November?
It does. And this year, you should note that the membership registration for the Circuit Cup is different. Circuit Championship Weekend is, right now, it's $55 to register, and then after a certain date, it goes to $65, and then after a certain date, it goes to $75. Still, rules apply as far as making sure your captain sign you up so you have a team to register for. No longer are you going to lose points if you miss your deadline, but we do ask that captains who do plan to go to the Cup to sign up early so we can track you and we can actually have an estimate of how many teams are going to be attending the circuit event. But
Gotcha. But nobody run and sign up right now because nobody has qualified for 2015 yet. We haven't had a tournament yet.
Yeah, you can sign up as any team, but ultimately at the end of the deadline, if you sign up and your team never went or you didn't go, we drop you. So.
Steven's back on.
I would defer back to Steven as far as some of the benefits of the membership program and why he thinks it's valuable as well.
Yes, I am back up. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Now, when explaining the benefits for the membership program, I beg of you, please repeat everything that Matt just said.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You know, he went over it in very good detail. There's not a lot of reason to repeat everything, but he said one of the things that we wanted to do is to provide, the membership program, not only just to give great perks, but to also help us grow as a company and put ourselves in a position to be here for some time. So, as far as the details are concerned, Matt went over those, and then, they're definitely up on the website right now as well. One of the biggest benefits, of course, is going to be the discounted registration for every event. I think that'll go a long way. Like you said, if you go to every event, it pays for itself. And it'll go a long way with girls as well. I know one of the things that women wanted was if they're going to attend a dual event, have the opportunity for some sort of discount, for registration. So hopefully this helps a little bit and, put us in a situation where everybody wins and we're able to do some really amazing things for you guys, moving forward based on the membership process.
Excellent. So that's one of the new things coming for 365 this year. Now, going back to our hard interrogation of Steven as the new CEO, that sounds like it was an idea that had existed beforehand. My question is, what are you bringing to the circuit this year? What are you going to do better than Matt did?
It's not a matter of putting up myself in a situation in comparison with Matt. As founder of the company, there's definitely some big shoes to fill moving forward. What I want to bring is a level of consistency and experience. Right now, one of the things that we have, several events working in several locations with different EMs, one of the things that players take into consideration is, okay, well, this event in whatever city, who's running that event, or what company is running that event, or who have we kind of, contracted out to put this whole thing together. And people make decisions on whether or not they want to go to certain cities based on that. One thing that I'm really looking at doing is coming in and bringing a consistency of branding and consistency of experience to all of our events as a whole. So it doesn't matter what city you go to, you know exactly the type of event that you're going to attend, and you know the quality that you're going to get. Whether it's from field signs and field paint to referees to anything like that, to the experience in general. We want to be sure that it's consistent from city to city and the level of quality does not drop from one city to one city. So that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to doing as well. Other than that, Matt touched on it for a second, but really looking into developing leagues moving forward. We want to. That's something that I have a little bit of experience with, and we want to put ourselves in a position as well as a company to not just pigeonhole us as far as the tournaments are concerned. We understand that as our bread and butter, that's what we were based on, but also securing longevity and securing the future of the business. We have to be creative about how we go about that, and so leagues is definitely something that we're going to be developing this year as well.
Well, the other perk with the leagues is you get to play kickball for life. Now, can you explain that strategy?
Yes, so the Kickball for Life promotion that started, so if you refer someone to us who starts a Kickball 365 league and it gets up and running and off the ground, then you as the player will receive free kickball for life when it comes to league events.
That is a really great thing. And also, when you're talking about expanding these tournaments and making sure they're all high quality, what do you have to say with this recent uprising with the LA and AZ players who feel snubbed this coming year?
You know what? I'm going to take full responsibility on that one. We have to understand, and Matt and I have had this conversation along with our VP operations, Tim. We have to understand that whenever we're going to rotate these events, if we're going to rotate Las Vegas and Arizona on a year-to-year basis, if we're going to rotate San Francisco and LA on a year-to-year basis, one of the things that we have to do is give players an apples-to-apples trade. I don't necessarily feel like LA, the city of LA, or having a tournament in LA is as big of a deal as taking away Arizona as a co-ed circuit event and then not replacing it with a co-ed circuit event. So we've got a call. We have our exec team call on Mondays, and so we'll talk tomorrow about that. But I totally understand, the West Coast feeling at this particular point in time, because where there was a tournament in Arizona, there isn't. Not only is there not a tournament there, but it's been replaced with a fun tournament. So, we'll have to look into that. And that also means that there's not a tournament out on the West Coast, until the end of May with San Francisco. So that's, almost 6 months without having an event out here on the West Coast and having the opportunity for players to, earn points along with, having the circuit experience. So that'll definitely be something we look at. And again, as a company, we have to take full responsibility on that one, and we'll do the best we can, to either help players understand that, what we want to accomplish is giving them experiences in new cities, as well as be sure that we host events that are somewhat regionally, located for people to attend. So I apologize that they do feel snubbed. I understand that perspective, and we will address it.
All right. The West Coasters are less people anyway. Patty, can you elaborate on that?
Well, it is true. If you do play kickball on the West Coast, you are by definition an inferior human being. So, I mean, that said, I don't think that there's I mean, if you're going to piss anybody off in kickball, you might as well piss off the people in California, because we're shite anyway. Although, talking about the cities, it does bring up an interesting question. I did notice one city that I think is on the schedule this year that made me raise an eyebrow, and that's Chicago. Am I right in thinking that there's a bona fide circuit event in Chicago this year?
We are. Oh, yes, Matt.
I was going to just add clarity for those watching this now. The only cities that are 100% confirmed are the ones where registration has been launched. Any city that we've announced, it's expected to happen. We're busting our butt behind the scenes to make it happen. So things might change. So
okay.
For example, not set in stone. Chicago is not set in stone, but we are doing everything that we can in our power to either secure a permit and launch registration as soon as we can. The moment you see registration launch, that means we have a permit in hand. So Chicago, Steven.
Thank you. And just to kind of piggyback that was one of the things that we were hesitant about with releasing the schedule as is we're in a situation where, like you said, some of these cities aren't permanent yet, but we're in very good talks with the Parks and Recs department in different places, or the owner of the land in different places, as far as coming close to securing a permit. And so the cities that are on the map, like you said, they may change. However, we feel very confident that we are, just a few steps away from securing a field permit, which is why we went ahead and launched them. So we have a very interesting situation in Chicago. And Matt, again, you can throw in. You have a little bit more history with this than I do. But we were in a very interesting situation simply because we had the opportunity to yeah, there it is right there. Had the opportunity to take part in a charity tournament there. That is Greg Olson. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that guy.
Fantasy.
So they run a charity tournament there. We were fortunate enough to work with them last year. We did not have a official circuit event there last year, and so what the plan is this year is to partner up with them again, or getting somehow working together with them to not only have their charity tournament, but also host a circuit event there as well. And so in what capacity is still up in the air, because they've been doing their charity tournament for quite some time now, and so their schedule in there and the way that they run things is kind of set in stone. So we're trying to figure out the exact details, how to work with that or around that. But that's kind of where Chicago came from, is we got the opportunity to work with them last year, and now we want to see if we can't bring the circuit experience to the great city of Chicago.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Now, I know there's a couple new cities here, a couple resurrections that I'm, partially excited about. San Francisco and New York. What went into bringing those cities back into it?
A couple of things. We've done. I am the EM for the event here in LA, the Best of the West. Been doing it since 2010. One of my very first circuit tournaments that I went to, that was not as an event manager, was the Kickball by the Bay Classic. A couple years back, and we had a great time up there. And we wanted to, in thinking about places that we could possibly host a new tournament. We know the terrain there, and we know the kickball community there. And also, it's a fantastic place to be. San Francisco is a very fun city. And so extremely excited about doing that one. San Francisco is a place where I think a tournament is going to be extremely successful from a West Coast standpoint, and it's also a destination. So that's kind of why I'm excited about San Francisco. And what was the second half of that? There was another city, New York.
Oh, New York.
Yes. So with New York, we had a couple of events over there as well. If you guys paid attention to the schedule, you'll notice some things that are not circuit events, like Virginia Beach, Harrisburg, those kind of locations. So we still wanted to throw something in the Northeast, but also wanted it to be a destination city where people could make some sort of vacation out of it. New York is, again, it's the Big Apple. How could you not want to throw a tournament there? How could you not want to be there? So that's kind of where that came from.
I want to be there.
For those of you watching, if you run events, I'll do the pitch here. We're happy to, and we're looking forward to adding you to the sanctioned event, the social tour calendar. If you're already running events and you just would like a larger audience possibly to just discover your event, use the platform as an opportunity to get the word out to a much larger audience. We've got tens of thousands of people on the site every week to learn about kickball in their community, to find our circuit events, to find other events. We get a lot of pings every week as far as how can we help other events, and we've continued to just say, hey, go to the forum. Well, now we're taking it a step further and asking people to say, let us know about your forum. If you're willing to work with us, we'll even launch and host registration. We'll get the word out there. We'll promote it to our mass audience of players, and even if you can't go, it'll raise the awareness level on your end so you can tell others, hey, check out this out. It might not be a competitive event, but you'll have a good time wherever that destination city is.
Kickball does happen, which is good.
And at the end of the day, it's about wanting to promote the kickball community on a national level, and having these sometimes smaller events or the lesser known events, and giving them the platform to reach out to the national audience that we have is something that's only going to raise more awareness about kickball and what's happening near and around you. So it's part of the goal as well.
One of the things with all the events that we saw really come to the forefront this last year, and is obviously going to be something going forward this coming year, knowing that the schedule isn't set yet, there are still some things that are fluid, is obviously the women's tournaments that happen generally on the Sundays after the co-ed Saturday tournament. There's always been some discussion, there's always some chatter, and I'll go ahead and put you on the spot here, Stephen, a little bit to see what your thoughts are on it, particularly from an event manager perspective, and that is, what are the thoughts about maybe changing up the days a little bit? I know there were some complaints about women's events being on a Sunday after the co-ed event, and people floated ideas, well, we could have the women's event on Friday, or maybe have the women's event on Saturday and the co-ed on Sunday. Any thoughts on that going forward, just from a personal perspective and also from an actual logistical perspective?
All right. Well, this is definitely something that from my event manager hat, this is something that has been very fluid, as you said. Is when is the best time to host if we're going to host dual events? What is the best formula or template to do that? Is it Saturday, Sunday, co-ed women's, or Saturday, Sunday, women's on Saturday, then co-ed on Sunday? Do we do it on a Friday? All that is definitely a question. And right now where we are is, the formula that we've had is working, but we do have the flexibility for each individual location. The issue with running things on Friday is the extra travel day for some people, as far as there are tons of players that come into the cities on Friday afternoons or Friday evenings, which allows them to not take the full day off on Friday, because like you said, there are tons of players who, including myself, who still have, the 9-to-5 jobs. And so as much traveling as we do for kickball, doing it in a way that allows players to take, as the least amount of days off, hopefully is beneficial to them, and hopefully, we don't put people in a situation where they're having to, fake being sick 14 times a year, to get out of town to the next tournament. So
I don't know how much faking there is about it. If you're leaving work 14 days out of the year to go play kickball, you might be sick. I've been accused of that myself many times. Even kickballers ask what the hell is wrong with me because I play so much. So it's not faking it. Please fix your verbiage there.
Okay, but even still, there are people who are not in a position. The majority of the working environment are not in a position to consistently be able to take several days off concurrently for kickball. So doing it over the weekend does work. Saturday, Sunday for dual events. We're definitely open to hearing feedback from players on a national level. Are they wanting the co-ed on Sunday and having Saturday as women's? Historically, that's been a resounding no from the social standpoint on Saturday night. However, guys have also said now that the women's tournaments exist on Sundays, the Saturday night social scene is basically all dudes. So it's
a goddamn sausage fest out there. What's the point of going out if it's a sausage fest?
So it's which is the lesser of two evils? Do you want to throw the women's event? Because women, and the way that the co-ed sport is now, unfortunately, we have to acknowledge that women don't necessarily get as exhausted playing in co-ed as they do for women's events. And so one of the complaints from women is, okay, well, I just played this entire co-ed event yesterday. Now I have to play on Sunday as well. But they're okay with that because they feel like, not speaking on behalf of all women by any stretch of the imagination, just the feedback that we've received is it's okay to go Saturday, Sunday, and women on Sunday because there's not as much work that has been done. There's not as much that is asked of them from a co-ed standpoint. And so they feel like they can go ahead and play the full day. Now, if that was reversed, then we have a situation where the social scene and the social experience for Saturday night, goes down a little bit. There are some teams out there with captains who do have curfews, and so for nights before games. And so if we run the women's on Saturday and then teams have curfews on Saturday night for the co-ed event on Sunday, then it's a little bit tricky. So the order of it, we've toyed with a little bit. We've talked about switching it up in some places, and we might switch it up in some places. As of now, the way the Las Vegas tournament stands is that the women's tournament will be on Saturday, and the co-ed draft will be on Sunday. So if it stays that way, then there'll be a place where we can kind of get some feedback from players on how that went and how they felt about it. But at the end of the day, it's all still very fluid. And, right now, the way we have it seems to be working on some level as far as the lesser of two evils and what's best for the situation right now. And if that ever becomes a point where we can change that, then we may. So it's just feedback, and right now we're keeping it how it is.
Good.
Well, I mean, I can't say that any woman who complains or any woman who says they're not tired after the co-ed tournament, they're slacking. They're just not applying themselves. They need to be working harder, making me sandwiches, and then they'll be exhausted after the co-ed tournament.
You're on your own.
Patty can relate to how much action these women get in tournament. I'll tell you that.
Yes. But, hey, hang on.
Being that it's now calendar turn to 2015. The circuit now turns 5 years old this year. I had the opportunity to play that first year, the first ever circuit tournament. A lot has changed. We now have women's tournaments, 9 fielders, 3 fouls. A lot of things have changed over the years for the better of the game. Ton more cities. I think that first year there was maybe 3. Where do you see Kickball 365 going 5 years from now?
Great question. My vision and perspective for where we're going to be 5 years from now is still throwing these stellar events on a much grander scale. We've pretty much from a circuit event tournament standpoint, we've pretty much kind of come into that magic number of doing one every 3 weeks or so, so teams have the ability to travel. So from a scheduling standpoint, I really doubt that we put more circuit events on the schedule, than what we currently have. But being able to put a better quality event forward and raising that up on every level, that's definitely something we want to do. Growing the sanctioned event program, so we're not just a competitive kickball company, but we're an all-around kickball company as well, is where I see us going, branching out and doing the things like the sanction events, branching out and doing a couple of charity tournaments, running even more leagues from a Kickball 365 standpoint. We want to be able to put ourselves in a position to, be in the same conversation. I promised myself I wouldn't bring up their name, but, we want to put ourselves in the same conversation, where we say, us and Waka are, in similar levels, if not, us hopefully putting ourselves in a position to be in front of them by that point in time. So, the potential of this as a company is really limitless, as long as we continue to find creative ways to grow our market and find creative ways to reach our community. There are players coming up. My son's 8. There's no reason why, whenever he turns 21, Kickball 365 shouldn't be around. So that's
on that note, I'm a high school coach. I always think about starting a kickball club and then eventually it becoming like a high school event. Same breath, how are you planning on attracting this new blood to the circuit for 2015? It seems like we're all getting pretty old. We need some youngins to come through here and start whooping our ass.
Great question as well. We've got some things on our agenda. I'm not quite sure if you guys have heard, or Matt, can we go ahead and release it, or you want to hold it?
I was going to say it comes out tomorrow. We can tell both programs that we're doing.
Oh, okay. You want to?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we've teased about it. We've talked about it. I think we're going to finally pull the trigger and do it. We're going to announce tomorrow the Rookie Team Challenge, which means if you bring a team, any existing player can be a captain. So Patty, Adrock, you can get a team of 100% new blood. You can go to any circuit event on the calendar. If you win that circuit event with 100% new blood, you can't play. You can only captain or coach. And that team of new blood wins. Grand prize for that event is $10,000. So we wanted to make a statement. If you think you're top dog in your local kickball community and you've never really seen a reason to travel across the country for a $2,000 prize, a $4,000 prize, if you're completely new to the circuit and you bring a team and you win, $10,000 is yours. So that's
regardless of the event.
As far as the event goes, yes.
Excellent.
So that's the Rookie Team Challenge. Details will be posted on the blog tomorrow. The other thing, which is I think Steve agree, is going to be one of the more popular things that attracts, well, it is attractive to everybody who's played. It's our new team. It's our new player referral program. So every captain, every player who's looking to attract a new person to come out to the circuit. So we'll use Patty. We'll talk about the captain of a team, El Guapo 2.0 this year. And you've got two people who have never been to a circuit event. You're dying to get them to come out. They're like, yeah, I don't want to pay the money. Well, you don't have to worry about it anymore because now they can play for free. So the new program is every circuit event, every team is now allowed to invite up to 2 people, 1 male, 1 female, free of charge. They get to use the coupon code NEWKICKBALLER, and we'll let them play for free. The point is obviously to attract new blood, make it easier for them to come out, and for them to be exposed to the circuit. Hopefully they like what they see and they come back.
I have a question.
That blog post just went live a couple minutes ago.
All right.
So this Rookie Team Challenge.
Yeah.
I can captain the team. Can I play on it?
You cannot play.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, let's specify. I mean, obviously, Adam, everybody knows that you can't play. I mean, come on. But anybody who's playing the circuit is not allowed to play on the team.
Correct. One player on a team that has played circuit before nullifies your enrollment in the Rookie Team Challenge. Every player that registers on that team has to have never competed in a circuit event before. However, a player who has competed in a circuit event before can be a captain.
Okay.
Now, we've been talking very, very big. I mean, we're talking about a bunch of very big things, as far as attracting new talent and what we're going to be doing with the events going forward and where we're going to be.
Our new CEO, he's big.
these are broad and lofty things to be talking about. I want to bring it down. I want to shrink it down, and we're going to put you on the spot a little bit, Stephen. And I think of the four of us here, I'm probably the best one to ask this question. So you've got a day job. You've got yourself a wife, a kid. You've still got your local leagues, and now you're going to be CEO. Running the circuit for 2015. How are you going to even captain the Gargoyles? And if you are not going to be captaining the Gargoyles, then are you going to be using your magical CEO powers to give the Gargoyles a little bit of a bump up, the way that all of the conspiracy theorists said OSC got advantages in years past? Tell us, are the Gargoyles going to win the circuit this year and not even make it to a semifinal game again?
Do both at the same time. We're gonna do both at the same time. You son of a. So great question, Patty. Yes, currently I am still the captain of the Gargoyles myself, and we just actually had a meeting on Friday with our team laying out 2015. I'm sorry, with my co-captain. They understand, what this means for me going into CEO this year. They understand the commitment that I'm giving to it. Would I want to win every tournament? Of course. I think that we're going to go in and we're going to give it our best shot. But I also want to be clear in saying that, whenever I am at events, whenever I am running events, my job and my position is CEO. So, my team understands that. And Pat, you've seen this before. Not everyone else, but Patty, you've seen this as far as from a league standpoint. There's plenty of times when, I have to make choices to put the league first, and not just my team. And that's something I'm used to. It's not going to really be anything new for me. So I'm excited about it. I'm hoping maybe there is some magic in the CEO that'll give us a win at some point in time, this year. But, more importantly, with what we're doing from a competitive standpoint for the Gargoyles, we enjoy traveling with each other. We enjoy playing together as a team. I mean, I'm pretty sure we went to the most events last year. So we travel like a boss, and now that I've got to be there anyway, more excited about going to some more stuff. So,
I figured it was a relevant question. Less so for the whole conspiracy theory, working your little soup magic behind the scenes to give Gargoyles the best possible advantage. But there was an example. For years, as an event manager, for people who don't know, for years, Stephen was one of the few event managers who would not play in tournaments that he was the event manager for. And then when he saw people doing it, he realized, oh, wait, I could do this. And so he started playing in tournaments that he was the event manager for. But I remember a wonderful case, I want to say in San Diego this last year, when at one point your slot came up to kick, but you were on the other field fixing a rhubarb that was going on between two other teams. So obviously there's a bit of difficulty, much you would throw away the whole captain thing, simply playing. And versus running a tournament. And I'm sure, Matt, you probably have some historical thoughts about that as well. I know that many of us are, while very pleased that we've got you in charge and running it, we've got great confidence in that. A lot of us are disheartened in that on game day we know that your focus won't necessarily be on the game first, which kind of sucks because you're kind of a baller out there, and it's fun to watch.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliment. But, part of the Kickball 365 company having the faith in me as CEO, that means putting the company first. And that's playing in tournaments that I ran and was definitely a new phenomenon for me because I was used to being available. But whenever we traveled and I saw other people playing, it was like, okay, well, we need to set this up in a way, and we've taken the steps to do that for 2015 for not just myself but for all of it managers to have the Kickball 365 staff there at HQ and be have a head referee in charge and be fully staffed and have people that are competent in handling the situation to where we can have the opportunity to play if we so choose to. There will absolutely be situations where I'm sure it's going to come into a conflict from me playing or me being a CEO, and in those moments I have to choose being a CEO for the betterment of the company. So again, this isn't something that's new for my team. This isn't something that's new for players that have been to my events. And so I'm going to keep that consistent and be sure that we move the brand forward.
Good. Now, I'd like to loosen the tie up a little bit here.
Yay!
Yeah. So,
Hey, by the
So I
way,
wanted to ask you-
this is the we didn't even touch on this. Oh, shut up! We didn't touch on this at the beginning of the episode. This is the last First to Third.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
We're retiring.
I don't see anyone else drinking.
Be clear about that, people. We're not retiring the podcast. We're just
No,
retiring.
we're still sticking around.
Yeah, the name First to Third. If you went on our Facebook page today, you saw that we have opened it up to suggestions for a new name, and we'll announce a new name next week. But this is something that we're looking to make a weekly podcast with these guys, so we can talk about the current state of kickball, what we've got going on, not just do bin draws and tournament previews, but actually follow up on them after they're done, so we can talk about the craziness that happened in each one, as well as other things happening.
And bin draws are so boring. I swear to God, Stephen, if I see you do one bin draw that takes up the whole podcast because you want everybody's predictions on what thing I'm driving down to your house and punching you in the face. I know where you live.
You know what? I've already got my baseball cap ready, so whatever we get going. Shake it up, shake it up. And in Pool A, we got the Bombays.
The draw is fine. Here's the thing. I'm fine with the draw. I'm not fine with Matt's drawn-out process of the draw, which is we're going to draw the next one. Adam, who do you think I'm going to draw? Patty?
Some of those episodes were the most watched episodes of First to Third last year.
That's because people watch train wrecks, man. I mean, seriously, we can have like a kickball podcast that has nothing to do with kickball. If I show you a car accident on the street, it's going to be the most watched.
Patty, you're in LA. You're in Hollywood. It's called
yelling.
Patty, building the drama. We can't just pull the name. We've got to add some suspense to it.
We can.
We should hire a hot babe to pull out of the hat, like a boxing girl.
That'd be hot.
Adam,
I'd watch.
Hot babes don't talk to us.
Hey, speak for yourself, Mr. Short Hair. All right. So I think it's appropriate for me to ask this question as the two-time Hype Cup champion, for those counting. I assume that, Steven, you're familiar with the Hype Cup, yes?
Nope. Break it down for me.
All right. The Hype Cup is an award. It actually began before the circuit. Back when kickball tournaments were played by cavemen, we used to give out an award every tournament for whoever was the most ridiculous. Who got arrested, who got their stomach pumped, whatever. Who was the most ridiculous at each tournament, they'd get the trophy, kind of like the Stanley Cup. They'd get to carry it around to the next tournament. Their name would get engraved on the plaque. The original trophy, we don't know where it went. Warley lost it somewhere. So there's now a new one. But now it's given out annually to whoever displayed the most rock and endangered their body and liver the most over the tour year. And I'd like to know who you think the favorite is going into 2015.
Favorite going into 2015 for me, I'm thinking Tim. Tim's going to Tim Alex going to show up, and every time I turn around, this kid is partying like a rock star, and I love it because he definitely brings the fun and he brings the social from a company standpoint, and I love whenever he goes to events, whenever he attends events, because I know at some point in time I'm either going to get a text at 4 o'clock in the morning or I'm going to have to find someone to bail him out of jail. So my favorite going to 2015, especially I know he's going to be going to a lot of events, Tim McNugget for sure.
What about Jimmy Beans?
What about you? What happened to you, old man?
Hey, man, I'm making a comeback in 2015.
Good.
Oh, are we going to see you more?
I'm going to Florida, I believe. Well, I won't tell anyone that yet.
Too late.
I'll be there and I'll be ready to go.
Perfect.
I don't know. You know what? I'm going to throw in. I got a dark horse candidate for this year's Hype Cup, and I think Steven might actually make a run for it. I mean, anybody who's been to an after party, an event with this guy knows that, I mean, he can make stuff happen. You know, I mean, he's like the first guy up front buying shots for people, throwing them at people, making them drink. He's always the one egging people on to do the inappropriate shit. I mean, you know, I'm not going to say anything, but there are some, back during my tenure in the Gargoyles, there are some 4 o'clock in the morning stories that really give Steven a chance of being a candidate for this year's Hype Cup.
Wow.
Patty, why would you do that? I'm trying to step onto this podcast. First one as CEO, let people know that I'm serious about the position and about moving the company forward. And then all you want to do is talk about the number of shots that we have until 4 a.m. in the morning.
Because it's a paper tiger, man. You being respectable is ridiculous. I mean, you know, everybody knows that just because you're in charge now doesn't mean you become more respectable. It's why we want you as our CEO. I mean, you know, you got admin with his stuffed shirt, tie, bullshit, like, no, I can't say anything inappropriate. Now we've got somebody who's finally one of us to, like, get out there and get in the trenches and, you know, be an inappropriate asshole with us. That's why we're excited to have you as the CEO.
I will say that I'm extremely excited about, you know, being at more events this year. I'm extremely excited about, you know, people showing confidence in me and getting behind me as CEO. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I'm ready to celebrate a little bit. And so, you know, I'll be in Florida. Hopefully you guys will be down there and really at every event. You know, this is not only is this amazing fun with amazing people, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it's kickball, and we get to do this in 1,000 different cities as part of vacation. Just that alone in itself is reason enough to celebrate. So, you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll accept that, Patty. I'll accept it. We're going to party a little bit.
I think that's about. I mean, do we have anything else to grill Steven on, our new CEO? Adam, do you have anything in mind, or I mean, you know, I got all the answers I need out of him.
I don't have anything else. I just want to have a moment of silence for First to Third.
First to Third. Yes.
That was enough.
That's enough. So, for those who are curious about that, the First to Third name is in fact going away because, as has been said many times, nobody goes First to Third anymore because all of the first basemen are so damn good. Nobody bothers going First to Third because the first baseman is just going to throw you out. Thus, that name is outdated. It's gone. It's passé. So we're in the process, as was mentioned, of coming up with a new name for the podcast. I personally prefer the idea of calling it the Padcast, but that's just me and my insufferable arrogance. I know some ideas have been floated on the Facebook page. Another one that has been floated out that could be good for a vote is Encroachment, a podcast that crosses the line. Which I think is fine, except we haven't done anything inappropriate this time, have we, guys? Inappropriate enough to consider that we crossed the line. I guess if we call it that, we'll have to start being really inappropriate, and then we'll get plenty of phone calls and possibly get boycotted, which would rule. But more importantly than simply the name, because what's in a name, asked William Shakespeare. Yes, I've read a book. Fuck you. Is that the plan this year is to not be so goddamn sporadic with our podcasts. Many of you know that we didn't have much in the way of a podcast presence at the end of last year. I blame myself. I think the last official podcast that 365 had was the Founders Cup preview, and that's very. I mean, does that leave a bad taste in anybody else's mouth?
Well, that was a good show.
It was a good show. You know what? It doesn't leave a bad taste in anybody in my mouth. It was just weird, though, that we didn't get a preview for the Circuit Cup. We didn't get a post-mortem for the Circuit Cup. We didn't get a chance to talk about anything that happened in San Antonio, whether it was Situation dominating through and kicking the shit out of everybody, whether it was the women's tournament that happened the following day, whether it was the fact that I apparently don't know who anybody on the Situation is. Real quick right here, I have to throw out my apology to both Gene and Edge on the Situation. I apologize for fucking your names up. That's my... Wait, no, that's not my bad. That's your fault, okay? Screw it. You guys with all your weird names. Here it is. Officially for 2015, I am referring to everybody on the Situation as Edge. Everybody on the Situation, you are Edge, except for Scott and except for Blake, because, you know, I know who you guys are. Nevertheless, that is a big failing on our part last year with all of the podcasts that we missed at the end of the year. I blame myself and 50% blame to Adam. The goal this year, more podcasts. We're going to try. Stephen and I had a conversation offline about this. Are we going to try for the weekly podcast, Stephen?
100% yes. 100% yes. We would like to shoot for every Sunday, unless the Sunday that it's going on is also a women's event or a circuit event. Depending on how the weekend is, then we'll look at shooting for Monday. So and we'll update this. We'll be very active on social media and sending things out and letting the kickball community know. But yes, yeah. Sunday. Look now for Sundays, especially now since before we go into tournaments. Look now for Sundays, a podcast from a to be named podcast from Kickball 365.
There's rumors surfacing, the whole role change. There's now a travel budget, and I'll be flying to LA to be live with Patty once a month.
That is the plan. Part of the requirement for that is Adrock. If we are in the same room in front of the same camera, he will not be allowed to wear a shirt, and I won't be allowed to wear pants.
I like the sound. Hey, I just got a new podcast name idea.
Uh-oh.
I'm afraid to ask.
Right.
Fireball Diaries.
If Fireball was a sponsor, yes, but they're not a sponsor, so.
Wait. What?
They're not a
Fireball
sponsor?
backed out?
What are we supposed to drink?
Wait, seriously, Fireball is no longer a sponsor?
Correct.
Pour that out. Pour it out. Pour it out.
And Patty's running around.
There, I need your help. Ah. No, fine, I need your help. Please point this at the bathroom. Try and get it so you can see the sink. Are they officially not our sponsors anymore?
They're not a sponsor as of today.
To everybody who plays and watches this Kickball and watches this podcast, I need to apologize. I have been lying to you for the past year. This stuff is goddamn awful. I've only praised it because they're one of our sponsors. It is the worst shit. The glass that I'm drinking all day is Jameson. This is horrible. Oh, fuck.
I can't really get. I can't see that well, but.
It's going down. Oh.
Oh, parsing. All right.
I think it's just fitting.
Oh my God.
Fitting end to first
so
or third.
Horrible. How can any of you people drink that? Oh. This is my better half.
Who's the babe?
Oh, God. Seriously, it's the worst tasting. Oh. I have to go rub one out. I am so happy I have to masturbate. Oh, my God. No more.
Oh, my God. We're done.
I'm not going to
I'm done. Well, I mean, wow. I guess we'll see you in a week, Patty. Hopefully you feel better.
I think Encroachment is the new name of the show.
Podcast that crosses the line.
Patty, you okay?
Sweet Jesus, Patty. Is he still alive? Yeah.
So.
All right. All right, guys.
Adrock, we'll wrap this thing up. I think we've lost Patty.
Well, guys, productive 2015 episode. I'm happy for the future. I'm pumped for kickball, and I'm even more pumped today. I saw all you guys.
Yeah, good.
I'll see you guys in a week.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're
Sunday, the 11th.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, stay in touch with the Facebook group. You'll find out when the show is in case we change the time or if Dallas is playing another football game.
Hey, sorry. We would have been on at 4, but the Cowboys are on. Not my fault.
Can't wait.
I'm going to go check on Patty.
All right.
You might need to call.
Later, guys.
All right. Until next week, gentlemen.